and Nigel Farage. Every single place in the world, without exception, every place, voters are rising up against migrants who go on welfare. It is universal. So the Democratic Party's policy of giving welfare and giving trans surgery to illegal immigrants, it's not just an American thing to oppose that. There is not a single country you can name, not one, where the party like the Democrats that give free shit and free houses and welfare and trans surgeries, that is universal. So stop pretending that Trump's platform is radical. I'm done speaking. If anyone wants to challenge me, I have 100 links.
His shit is radical. He fired a bunch of immigration judges that he didn't like. Waited. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Like, fired a bunch of immigration judges, couldn't deport the people he wanted to, and then patted himself on the back when he rehired immigration judges.
Right? The other thing, radical immunity.
Obama tripled the amount of immigration judges.
The immunity thing was really fucking radical. And then Trump suing himself and settling with himself is one of the most fucking objectively corrupt things I've ever fucking
Being the fund that hands out the money.
radical, bro. Like a fucking GOP president would never have tried to just do that shit blatantly and get away with it, bro. Like, that's radical. That's really fucking radical. Like, why would I talk about these things?
Trump has radically changed the direction of the GOP and conservatism in 2016.
Yes,
he came down the escalator.
radically.
Okay, hold on a second, Marsha. So, like, the idea that we Republicans were always against and tight borders a new phenomenon. Republicans generally weren't. So we wanted it, but we wanted it under our conditions. We wanted farm workers. We advocated that. We wanted expansions on those. Democrats were typically the ones that refused to allow immigrants in. They were wholly against it, including St. Bernie Sanders, who really wanted to lock down the borders and make sure he had a homogenous society so he could fund his social programs. So these parties have flipped on that ideological bent. Trump has also put in a more aggressive stance. Like, we've never, I want you guys to pay attention to this, we never targeted leaders of other nations, whether it was a coup or something along those lines, directly like this since Obama and Trump, and they have carried that on. You know, Libya is a prime example under Obama, but we never went in and just grabbed a president before. No GOP person or conservative endorsed that, regardless of the circumstances of the Venezuelan people. We also wouldn't just target, quote, presidents to be ordered for elimination of a whole nation that we're at conflict with. We generally wouldn't do that. The GOP would be very, very upset of that. The older conservatives, some of us like me are saying, this may not be the good idea to go headhunting for a new leader to talk to that's going to bend the knee, because we may not get what we're really looking for. But, you know, there's other options. And so, like, the idea that there hasn't been a kind of change or even a radical change in some of these aspects, that's not true. That's not true. You can't say that the Republican Party hasn't radically changed.
That wasn't my point at all, but that's fine. I'm gonna have some dinner. But that wasn't my point at all. So, like, yes, Trump is an absolute radical figure, and he does radical shit, and I'm not somebody who defends Trump. I voted for him, but I think he's a piece of shit, and I think he's done radical stuff, including that last thing with creating a slush fund for himself. Like, yeah, it's radical as fuck. Like, Jason, the entire point of this room was to call out the hypocrisy within liberals as well. Like, I thought Biden leaving office and pardoning his entire family for things that they may or may not have committed. I was like, you think when Trump does that on his way out of office, because you know the fuck he's going to do that when he's on his way out of office. You know what Democrats are going to do? They're going to wring their hands and be like, nobody's ever done anything like this before. And the way that Trump's doing, even though he has the precedent for doing it, I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm not gonna defend him when he does it. I'm not going to. I'm saying that, like, Democrats going around and breaking shit, and then Trump using that to his advantage, and then he moves forward. And again, yes, Trump is a radical figure. I'm not defending Trump, but, like, what I hate is this racist history. And I'm not saying that you, Brad, or you Jason, or anybody else on the stage is doing this. I certainly hate it when it comes to, particularly in Democratic rooms. It pisses me off, revisionist history, to say, oh, well, the Democrats have never been radical. Like, really? The Dreamers Act was not a radical piece of legislation? Oh, wait, it wasn't a piece of legislation, right? Like, what? Is forgiving student loan
But that's another example of Trump changing a radical decision on that. Conservatives argued against it. Hold on. And then Trump offered to grant them amnesty and expand it to 1 million. Like, he literally did that on live TV in front of Chucky and Nancy Pelosi. So, I mean, again, another pivot in a situation.
And Barack Obama ran in favor of closed borders and marriage being between a man and a woman. Like, that's how far we've come since that. Obama was a radical figure in American politics, or was considered a radical figure. He was the quote-unquote change we need. His policy right now, I would make the argument, is pretty freaking moderate compared to where the Democratic Party is, and even some of the Republican Party, for that matter. Again, the expansion of the federal government, and particularly the executive branch, it's crazy. And yeah, and totally under Trump, but also during the last administration and the previous and Trump's first term as well. It's crazy how far we've careened out of control.
But Trump never ran as a conservative. That's the whole point you're trying to do, is you're trying to put Trump in the conservative bucket. He ran under the Republican ticket, which, shocking news. Hold on, I'll let you talk, dude. Like, chill. The Republican umbrella holds libertarians. It holds Christian conservatives, extreme church fellowship people who want, like, their ideology implemented as a uniform code across the land. You have I will say, you have like, Puritan WASP KKK members that hide out under the GOP. You have conservatives like me. You have, I don't know,
Hey, the RJC, don't forget me.
Yeah, you have these. You have a whole.
We're pretty big, the Republican Jewish Coalition, our numbers.
Yeah, so, like, you have all these groups that, like, everybody tries to say the GOP is one universal group, and Democrats are just, they're a party of mixed affiliations. Well, so is the Republican Party. You even have far right, I would call them almost communist. Both sides is absurd. Trump never ran as a conservative, never ran as a libertarian. He never ran as a traditional Republican. In fact, he rephrased it as MAGA. He put it right in your face and said, I'm MAGA. That's it. That was all he ran on. And yes, the GOP and a lot of Americans, 75 million plus, said, yep, this is the guy I want, including myself. I voted for him. So this idea that somehow or another that he has not taken the GOP in a completely different direction is absurd, and saying that we don't have radicalization on our side is being disingenuous.
I didn't say you didn't have radicalization within the conservative movement. I'm saying that I don't think that Trump is taking the Republican Party in a particularly right-wing direction. That is my entire point. That is the antithesis of my point. It has nothing to do with Trump being radical or not being radical. I think he's radical. I think Republicans are heading in a very, very different direction than I wish they would. I wish Republicans would actually be more conservative. I wish they would be more libertarian in their leanings. I wish they would advocate for things like less government and entitlement reform and balancing the federal budget and all of these things. Like, I wish they were more right wing, but they're not. Like, they just aren't. So if you want to say that Trump is all of those things, I agree with every single thing that you said there, Brad. In terms of Trump ran with no ideology whatsoever. He did. You're right. He did. Like, I agree with all of those things. Like, I would argue that he was a lot more moderate his first term than he was this next term. I don't think that when the founding fathers designed the system and the checks and balances the way they did, I don't think they anticipated somebody like Trump coming along and doing what he did.
They actually did.
Which at the very, very least was short-sighted in the way that he rolled out the tariff policy. Like again, I have been in a very, very openly critical of Trump.
Again. Okay, but you're wrong. Because they actually funded the government with, guess what, tariffs. They rolled those out. They actually expected Trump. They expected people like Trump and Jackson and Grant and Garfield and who else you want to? Kennedys. They expected that. They clearly do it, which is why they argued against the two-party system. Multiple factions of that argued against that. That's the point where they had a source of contention. But they also provided a check and balance to that system, which is why the president is not a king. He is a servant of the people, elected by the people for the people, which means he has checks both in Congress and the Senate, and he has the Supreme Court to also check him, which has happened to Trump numerous times. Now, you may not like the decisions that are coming out of the Supreme Court or the legislation. That's fine. You may not agree with it, and that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. You're welcome to it. Thank the men that are giving the wind to the flag on Memorial Day because they gave their souls and their lives for that flag. But you have that freedom to do so because of the way our government is set up and established. So now, Trump is not just doing this randomly, and I disagree with Jason, because if he is doing the extreme ends and radically changing, maybe per your perspective, but he's still following what the Constitution is, and he is getting checked along the way. He is getting stopped.
Is he?
I mean, yeah, he is, because every time he loses in the court, what does he do?
Not according to the Supreme
He's
Court.
Well, Brad, it depends.
He's utilizing the courts, which means, guess what? He's following the constitutional process.
He is, but there's a report that he has disobeyed something like
He's been
300 court orders.
by his own Supreme Court that he did something which makes it unconstitutional. So, and then he'll just do it anyway. Like, that's
Brad, I don't think it's a majority of litigation, but it's enough litigation. The judiciary, from my reading of it,
also,
has not really enforced their standards.
I don't know if you knew this, but insurrections are unconstitutional. Did you know that?
Okay, great.
I didn't
Show
know that.
me an
You
insurrection
tried
that
to
has
sit
occurred
in
since the Civil War.
Well, Trump apparently sparked an insurrection according to the Supreme Court of Colorado, and that's all I'm pointing out. Is saying Trump just.
Supreme Court of Colorado that got overturned from what they, that's
Yeah, I
Supreme
thought that
Court?
was overturned. So,
You know where that came out of?
Didn't we have 3 years of Joe Biden?
He got found to have done it until the Supreme Court overturned it. But my point is,
Who found them to do it? A biased court in Colorado?
I guess I have to like say this explicitly because you guys don't understand the fucking joke. I was being tongue in cheek.
I know you were. I was kind of giving it back on the other.
Oh, yeah.
The point is, it's actually, I don't know how you can so confidently say Trump's following the Constitution. That's actually in dispute. So many different jurisdictions are doing some of the shit that he's currently trying to do. And he's already been ruled against several times by his own Supreme Court. So it's awkward to say that if you know that stuff, right? Like,
Sure, but again, if you're going to say, like, give me the example that you're going to use, because you said numerous times, so give me the example.
Like the immigration stuff, like the due process violations, the habeas corpus violations, they ruled against him several times. Several judges told him to, like, stop deporting people without, like, and he just did it anyway. And he said, oh, the planes took off already, sorry, like shit like that. Like, that's not, is that constitutional? Is that him following the Constitution?
I mean, I'll grant you that one carve out there. Yes, the planes were already up in the air. Democrats should have moved faster. I disagree. I disagree though with the process. Wait. I do disagree because they didn't need to have that, like what the Democrats and what people are arguing as due process, because Clinton, when he changed that reform, said, yes, it can be an administrative function, and you can actually follow through with it. The government can do that. So we have that legislation on tap exactly for the president.
But even administrative proceedings still entail processes, right? So due process would still apply, right?
But they weren't found in violation of avoiding that administrative, they were not found in violation of that legislative action. That wasn't the argument.
I'm talking about the ruling against him that's by the Supreme Court. I think it involved Abrego Garcia and some other people. They basically ruled that, yeah, their due process rights were violated, and they had to come up with a minimum. They reverted it back, they remanded it back to the lower court to come up with a minimum amount of time that these people have to be notified so that their attorneys can, like, take legal action if they want to before they're deported. That was a ruling. I read this in a room. Like, I can find it if you want me to.
I remember it, and I do remember the ruling. Yes, I agree with that, and I give you that. I give you the carve out. But where most people think
my point is, like, if he's doing things that the Supreme Court says, yeah, you can't do that, that's not constitutional. That's what that means, right? He's doing things that are effectively unconstitutional. Hence, they've been ruled against, right?
correct. He has stretched the.
So all I'm saying is,
he stretch his powers and has gotten tapped back, just like every president.
Track record of those things, because that's not the only example I can give you. Where it's like he follows the Constitution. It's like, well, like in the way that a person who gets several speeding tickets follows the traffic laws, like kind of. Like he's not always breaking them, but like he breaks them a lot though. Like I wouldn't say if that person didn't follow the laws.
And the judiciary hasn't really put its foot down. From my reading, the judiciary has been rather lackadaisical. There are a couple of district court judges that have accused him of not following 6 major incidents where plaintiffs or judges accuse the president or the administration of ignoring or delaying court orders. Comes from ABC, so take it for what it is. At least one case where a federal judge found probable cause for a criminal contempt tied to an alleged court order. So I don't know enough historical data about presidents disobeying court orders to know whether Trump's disobeying of some of these orders or alleged disobeying is in any way normal for American history or not.
We had Andrew Jackson famously say, great, the Supreme Court ruled against me, now watch them try to enforce it.
Yeah,
there are other examples of history, but like recently though, like
not in the modern era.
Obama did not flaunt his authority like Trump does though. Like
okay, the optics of it, yeah, Trump is braggadocious about it. I mean, Obama.
Braggadocious, I mean like blatantly violate court orders, like he didn't do that like Trump did. So I don't know, like unless you have an example, I don't know. Like, was there a ruling where
Fast and Furious?
The Obama administration, you can't do this, and the Obama administration is like, fuck that, we're doing it anyway. Like,
Fast and Furious. So, like, I mean, we'll give you a second now, pull them all up.
Yeah. Take time. I want to learn. And I don't mean like appeals. I mean like the court says you can't do X. Some administrations like we're doing X. like that's egregious. Like Trump did that. I've never heard of Obama doing that.
No, like I said, it may be peculiar for presidents in the modern era, but Jackson's an example. Probably Buchanan's another example.
FDR.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Yeah. There's other examples. It's just that not recently. Like most of the recent presidents have.
Okay. I knew I would find it very easily. Syrian refugee notification and dispute, Texas versus the U.S. Administration violated that with the refugee status. Then you had the DAPA immigration program, the Deferred Action for Parents Under Americans. Had a nationwide injunction after courts found procedural problems under the Administrative Procedure Act. The administrator filed an appeal, and then continued to implement the policy. The courts tried to block implementation, and Obama said he had the authority to do it, and they just basically didn't say he was necessarily violating. Recess appointments, Noel Canning, that was another one. And I mean, again, there's even the one where when people say like the drones American citizens, that one was also a violation. And
the droning of Anwar al-Awlaki and his brother, despite the fact they were both linked to AQAP, for those unaware, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, they were still American citizens and deserved a trial.
Sorry, were any of the examples that you named Viking examples?
This is Brad. I just put Viking up there because that's what people on the left.
That's fine. But were any of the examples you gave examples where the Obama administration was ruled against, and the Obama
Yes, all of them were. The Syrian refugee.
I don't mean ruled against, and I'm saying they were ruled against in terms of like they were trying to do something, and then the court said you can't do that, and then they just did it anyway. Or are you talking about appeals processes?
So what happened with the Syrian is they were told to stop. They had an injunction, and then they went ahead and said, we're filing an appeal, and then continued the process anyway, and did not follow the statutes. Even the courts found disturbing. And afterwards, the case was kind of summarily dismissed because it was already done. You couldn't undo that. So that was a problem for Texas, and Texas was really pissed about that. The DAPA, another implication that he went ahead and did that despite having another nationwide injunction at it. And Obama, I'm going to give him this. He was very skilled with the law. I don't know who, like his legal team was top notch, and they were able to play the court systems absolute. But he would go ahead and continue the action, and then go ahead and file an appeal and say, well, too late, so sad. So I mean, I'll give you the win on this, that Obama technically was able to get away with a lot of stuff, but he did face it. Trump is just not as good as Obama. Like, I mean, that's the way I look at it. Reagan was notorious for it. Clinton was. So is Bush.
Hold on. So, I was looking for examples of the Obama administration violating court orders. These don't seem like examples of that. So that's why I'm confused. Like,
okay, so like the Syrian refugee notification dispute, Texas versus the U.S. The officials argued, and I'm reading this directly, so spare me. I had to just quickly Google this. The Obama administration failed to provide advance notice about Syrian refugee placements after the judge's directive related to information sharing in the case, determining vetting and backgrounds on all these individuals. The administration acknowledged certain refugees had been resettled without any notice to Texas, without providing them updates, and without providing background. So they basically dumped them in there, despite the court's ruling on that and an injunction to stop that process. So they went ahead and did that.
Okay, so what I'm reading is that there was no injunction or court order violated in that case. So I'm confused. Like, what was the?
That would be a violation, despite the courts, like him just going against what the court said to do.
No, so my reading here is that following the 2015 Paris attacks, Texas and Alabama sued the Obama administration, attempting to block Syrian refugees from being resettled in their states. The states claimed that the federal government failed to properly consult with them. However, a federal judge dismissed his lawsuit, and no injunction or court order was violated. I'm trying to figure out what was violated. Like,
because they had already begun the program. It had already started. They had already resettled people.
Where was the stay? Like, give the timeline. Where was the injunction given? If they resettle and the resettlement now sparks the lawsuit, where is there space for an injunction or stay or whatever? Like, where would that have been possible?
Hold on, let me look it up again and let me deep dive into this one because I only found the examples quickly on Google. Okay, I found something that probably, this is from Ken Paxton, when he was governor.
Paxton was never governor, and Paxton was attorney general, never governor.
Oh, he was? Yeah, attorney general, not governor, my bad. In 2016. So maybe this is what you mean, because he's alleging these things. And he has a timeline here. So this is what his thing says. So it says Obama administration. This is the title. This was written by the way, January 26th of 2016. Obama administration defies court's directive, settles Syrians in Texas without advance notice or information. The Obama administration has admitted in federal district court that it failed to provide the state with advance notice of Syrian refugees being settled in Texas, defying a judge's directive. Additionally, another group of Syrian refugees were scheduled to arrive in Texas yesterday, and Texas has not been provided adequate information about these individuals as required by law. The Attorney General's office today made a filing highlighting the need for injunctive relief
in light of these recent events. Quote, the Obama administration continues settling Syrian refugees in our neighborhoods and communities under a cloak of secrecy, end quote, said Attorney General Ken Paxton. Quote, last weekend, the federal government settled refugees with no advance notice in complete violation of a court's directive and were scheduled to bring more refugees to Texas without providing adequate information about who they are. The threat to our communities by foreign terrorists is real. The greater concern is not what we know about these refugees, it's what we don't know, end quote. On December 2nd, Texas filed a lawsuit against the federal government to halt the relocation of refugees from Syria in the state because the federal government had not consulted with state authorities in advance of such relocations in violation of the Refugee Act of 1980. The federal government is directing at least one nonprofit entity tasked with placing the refugees in Texas from disclosing even basic information that would help resolve Texas's security concerns. On December 7th, a federal judge directed that the federal government provide the state with advance notice of its intent to settle refugees within the state. On January 22nd, the federal government submitted a filing admitting it resettled refugees in Texas without notifying the court or Texas. Texas takes in roughly 10% of refugees resettled in the United States, partnering with local volunteer agencies to help refugees transition to the state and pay associated costs. In this case, authorities have left Texas uninformed about refugees that could well pose a security risk to Texans and give them no say in the process. Two more paragraphs. Members of the federal government have expressed concerns regarding this massive expansion of refugees from an area engulfed in fighting with ISIS. FBI Director James Comey told Congress that the federal government cannot conduct effective security checks on Syrian nationals, testifying that, quote, we can query our database until the cows come home, but nothing will show up because we have no record of them, end quote. National Intelligence Director James Clapper summed up the worries of these federal counterterrorism experts, quote, I don't obviously put it past the likes of ISIL to infiltrate operatives among these refugees, end quote. Earlier this month, federal authorities arrested 2 individuals admitted to the United States through the refugee program for activities relating to supporting terrorism. This is the second time in the past year that the Obama administration has either defied or misled a federal court on major immigration issues. In March 2015, the administration admitted that tens of thousands of expanded work permits have been issued to unauthorized aliens in direct contradiction to the facts they presented in the U.S. federal court. And it has a link to view the recent filing. So, I mean, if that's what you mean, that was alleged by the Attorney General of Texas. Maybe that's the support you're looking for.
Yes, I was. And I was trying to pull it up from the Atlantic because the Atlantic had an article on it, and I remember reading it back.
The Obama doctrine?
I fucking hate Ken Paxton.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was coughing.
The Obama doctrine? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
In the Atlantic? All right, I found it. Well, I mean, top 10 ways Obama violated the Constitution during his presidency. I got one from the Cato Institute. You want that one?
You can go ahead and read that. Like I said, I just pulled up the ones that I remembered. So.
Well, I'll just read the list because it's like detailed, and I'm not trying to read forever. So the Cato Institute, I just put in the chat. It's titled "The Top 10 Ways Obama Violated the Constitution During His Presidency." It was published January 19, 2017. Okay. Obama only furthered the imperial presidency. Obama ignored constitutional checks and balances. 1. The Chrysler bailout was 1 on the list. Obamacare implementation was 2 on the list. 3. Political profiling by the IRS. 4. Recess appointments. 5. DACA and DAPA. 6. Assault on free speech and due process on college campuses. 7. Clean Power Plan. 8. The WOTUS rule. Waters of the United States. 9. Net neutrality. I remember debating net neutrality in college, by the way. That was the whole thing. And then number 10, EPA's cap and trade. So these are alleged to be the 10 ways that he violated the Constitution.
Wow.
None of them include the Syria thing, which is interesting. I don't know. This is the Cato Institute too.
Side note, do you do voiceover?
No, what do you mean?
You read for different people, like books and stuff like that, or you do the voice of movies, certain parts of movies.
Yeah. I would if people were willing to pay me. But
Yeah, I definitely think you can get paid for that.
All right, you got your hand up. I invited you on stage. Sorry if you've been waiting for a while. I was reading some stuff.
Damn, bro, just let nigga do.
I left you like Chicago. The Chicago Bears about to leave your city, bro.
Shut up! No one wants to be in Chicago anymore. Not even the Bears.
Hey, Mikey, hey, hold up. You gotta slow your roll, my boy. Yo. And what's up with you sending me fucking photos and shit? You ain't see that fake nigga? Yeah. You ain't cooking though? You ain't make that shit, bro. Nigga. No matter how good it look, you ain't make that. I literally made that shit, nigga. No, you did not. That shit look way too fancy, bro. Plates look too fancy. Them forks is real. Nah, nigga. Yeah, you had one. Somebody else made that. Stop playing with me. You ain't sophisticated like that, nigga. That white person made that. I can tell by the fucking glassware. Stop playing with me. Why you ain't know the nigga, Nigga's not a damn thing. You better stop playing. Oh, shit. That was funny. You look good, though. But it don't look as good as the shit I made, nigga. I actually have footage of me cutting it. I ain't. That's what I should have made the goddamn video. Yeah, can't deny when you in there doing, some voice in the back. You was like, hey, look at this shit. I'm cutting right here. You know what I'm saying? What's up with Shani?
Hey y'all, what are we talking about?
Whether or not the Obama have violated court orders like the Trump administration. This is what we were just
Are we still jealous of Obama?
I think Viking is jealous of Obama.
Every
What?
white, yeah, Trump is so jealous of Obama. It's crazy.
Muse, you're just trying to start shit.
I'm just calling it like I see it, bro.
You liar.
I'm just saying.
All right, guys, I gotta run. Jason, thank you. Thanks for letting me vent in here.
Yeah.
From that other room.
So before you go, I don't know. I mean, if you have to go, you have to go. But I still have that article though.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what you want to do. I mean, if you have to go,
we're in the third round of hockey finals, and I'm a fan, so I'm heading to a hockey game. But I'll come back on. I mean, I love your rooms, but I like the Golden Knights a little bit more. All right,
That's
I'll come back.
I bet. Now I want some steak. God damn it.
Could have been
What
down
made
here
you
in Texas.
crazy?
I'm going out for
What made
it.
you want steak?
Kirk will send me some pictures of some steak. He pretended to cook, but he ain't really cook.
This nigga hating, honey.
That's funny.
Bro, you ain't cooked that shit, bro. Stop lying.
I literally did, bro.
He said he knew picture from Chef's
PTR.
It's my
Why
fucking
the fuck
kitchen,
you
bro.
lying? You always lying. Oh my god.
PTR.
Hello? Bro, as a matter of fact, hold up. You can see, bro. You can see.
Go ahead, I'll tell you if you did it.
Turco, you know that I can post Instagram photos of chefs that make steaks and say it's mine, but nobody would believe